Good morning, David.
Good morning, Salim.
Is risk management the same for all projects?
The answer to this question is yes and no. I'm sorry if that's confusing, but let's start with
No
a yes.
problem, yes.
We had a question earlier on, back in the start of our discussion on risk management processes, or what are the steps of a risk management process. And we ended up with a number of questions, and I'll very quickly just revise those, remember those. There were 7 questions. And those questions form the backbone or the framework of the risk management process. The questions were, what am I trying to do? That's where we set our objectives. What might affect me? That's where we identify risks. Which are the important ones, or the big ones? That's where we do risk prioritization and assessment. What shall I do about it? That's risk response planning. Then you implement your responses and ask the question, did it work? And that's our risk review. Then you tell somebody, who shall I tell about this? That's risk communication or reporting. And then you say, what's changed? And that's our risk update. So those 7 questions are the basis of the risk process. So when we say, is risk management the same on all projects? The answer is yes, we'll always be asking and answering those 7 questions. But you can answer them at different levels of detail. So if we had a very short, straightforward, simple project, and the duration is maybe 2 weeks or 4 weeks, then we have a very quick risk process where in maybe 30 minutes we ask the 7 questions and we go through all of those things very quickly. If we have a 5-year project with a $1 billion budget, then we have more time, more complexity, more things to think about, then we would answer the 7 questions in more detail. So we might have a 2-day risk management workshop, and we might have a proper risk register and risk report, which we spend a day developing. And then our risk communication might be producing a set of presentations for our key stakeholders. And our risk updates might take a day. So all of those things are still structured around the 7 questions, but the level of implementation is different.
Different, yes.
And this is recorded in our first step of the process, the risk management planning, where we produce a risk management plan that says, on this project, this is what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, who's going to do it, how we're going to do it, how we're going to report it, how often we update it. Each project should have a risk management plan which defines the risk process for that plan. So it might be that we have no risk specialist on the project, that the project manager, as part of their leadership of the project, will also be identifying and analysing and reporting the risk. Or it may be that we have a part-time risk coordinator from the PMO who comes in, the project management office, and our part-time coordinator then helps to do the risk management, facilitate the risk management on the project. Or maybe we have, on a really big project, a risk team. And the risk team will help to facilitate the project and interview people and perform simulation modelling and do the more complex tasks. So the process has the same underlying structure, but with different levels of project, then it can be implemented at different levels of detail.
Although we have said that each project is unique,
yes,
but still we have to answer those 7 questions
yes.
at different levels.
Yes, that's right, because the uniqueness of the project will determine the level at which we're going to implement risk management. So if the project itself is very risky, or is very strategically important, if it has high levels of uniqueness and complexity, or there are a lot of assumptions and dependencies, then of course we would want to have a more rigorous, a more detailed risk management approach, risk management process, still structured in the same way, but implemented with more detail. If we have a project which has low levels of complexity, where there are not so many dependencies, maybe we can just dial back, have a simpler risk management process, which we can perform more quickly and with less effort, but of course still answering the 7 questions. Because the 7 questions are things that everybody wants to know. You know, whatever your project is, whatever your business is, whatever enterprise you're undertaking, we all want to know what we're trying to do and what could affect us, and which are the big ones and what we could do about it, and if that worked, and what's changed. Those are key questions that everybody will ask about anything that we're doing, which is important. And so, of course, that also forms the framework for risk management on projects.
Definitely. Thank you, David.
Thank you.